slowed down from almost 70 shows a month for at least 4 or 5 years. And then I went to, what was I going to say? So then I dropped it to 2.5 years ago. I dropped it to about 10 a month. So it really affected the algorithms on Facebook. And so what I've noticed is that, and then my friend is organically making all these clips of every show, which is such a gift.
Yeah, that's
So
been
with that,
amazing.
yeah, with that helping, the algorithms are just now starting to kick back, and I'm realizing the depth of the algorithms because people are coming. First of all, there's a lot of new people. A lot. I mean, like I'm
Hello.
saying, yeah, I'm saying like I would say like it's because I have a very good memory. I'm very, very good, with energies and faces and names. And I'd say it's about 80-20. It's about
Wow.
80 new people.
Yeah,
Because
well,
you know what I mean? Because on those little clips, you can, if you put them on your story, you can see who's watched it. And
it's
most of the
it's
names,
fantastic.
right? Isn't that crazy? I mean, but the other thing I noticed too is some people come back, hey, where you been?
Exactly.
You know what I
It's
mean?
been fantastic. And I'm getting all this also, it's showing non-followers and it's becoming
Hmm.
nearly 50-50 now.
Well, that's funny that you say that because my soul told me.
Hi
Uh,
everyone, we're just
oh
chatting
yeah,
away
yeah,
here.
yeah. You know
Welcome.
how it is. It's a conversation. But
We're
yeah,
just but yeah, it's fascinating to know how
well,
there's
my
something
soul told
different.
me this years ago. Well, actually, it was when I first started. I don't even think I was doing videos. Actually, this is like 2014, 2015. Yeah. And so anyway, there was a time when Mother Mary came in and she said to me, "Stop looking at the number of likes. Just understand that for every engagement you have, multiply it times 50,000." And
That's
I'm like,
right.
okay. And then, uh, oh yeah. So what I was going to say is that like, yeah, that at that time, around that time, this would be like 2014, 2015, I was told you're going to reach a point when you start to see 50-50. And when you start to see 50-50, then that's going to kind of mark and so that's happened. And so you're saying it's happening with you too. So
Except just this week, just
yeah.
the last few days, actually, it's kicked in, and I'm like, wow, this is really interesting. And
Mm,
yeah, I'm just loving the global village
yeah.
and that we're all finding each other.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fantastic.
And it's like between the lines from the human perspective. So my friend Gregory Jones, infuselights.com, everybody should go visit him. He's got a great bookstore there. It's $1.99 a month. It's incredible. But so that was an organic thing, right? Where we had been connected for a while. When I was doing 14, 15 platforms with Every Live, his group, Infused Lights, was one of the groups that allowed me to do it. And so anyway, we never could work together. And then this something happened and we connected. I saw him on X. That's what happened. And so he's like, my soul, I think I told you this. My soul says I've got to make these shorts for you. Okay. So anyway, we start, connecting, and he came on the show, and then I get to know him a little bit better, and he's doing this for other people. And so we've had this conversation, and what I'm getting from it is that this is how it works. See, it works like, hey, you want to get together once a month? You want to keep going with this? Or he says, I'm going to put these out. And then the connectivity between each of the people starts to take hold. And see, I've seen that over the years with Soulogy. Like I know so many people, couples, people that start podcast groups, and it came out of this environment where it was an open forum, be yourself and no doctrine, no dogma, no one telling you what to do, just show up and collaborate. And now it really feels
Yeah,
like,
hang out in the field.
yeah. And so that's what I was saying about, and welcome everybody, and welcome back, Raeline.
Welcome,
Everybody
everyone.
knows this isn't a typical podcast show. It never has been. But what I started like, okay, in May, I kicked it back up, 40 shows a month, right? And so now I'm doing X, YouTube, and Facebook, just one channel or one platform on each of the one channel on each of the platforms. And I've noticed there's a distinctive difference between the platforms that I'd seen before between YouTube and Facebook because the crowds were different. Because, like I
Yeah.
said, it was 1,000 shows before we ever started doing YouTube. We only did them on Facebook. And so what I noticed is obviously on Facebook, there's more of a personal connection. Uh, X has some of that, I've noticed. I just observe. I don't really participate in that fashion. But and then YouTube is I don't know. I've always felt for some reason it's a different blend there too. There's more anonymity. There's less of that personal connection. And I don't say this in a bad way at all. I'm just speaking as an observer. It feels a bit more sophisticated. Like there's not the squiggly lines between people. The I love
Yeah.
you that I love yous that are overused, or the like everything just because you know thing. You know what I mean? I'm not saying there's
Yeah.
anything wrong with that because I've done this, but
I've
so
noticed that too. I've never looked at comments before in YouTube, but I started looking recently when I was on a podcast with Mark Atwood just to get a feel for his audience, and because it is very different to mine. And, I was delighted to see the feedback, and yeah, it's good to have a look at what's going on, and seeing how there's different flavors that we can tap into. It's fabulous, and there's something for everyone on each platform that we're sharing on, which is fabulous, in terms of people finding connection and finding what we're talking about, which is what's going on in the field, what's getting a read for the field each month, getting a read for what's happening to us, having those light bulb moments switch on through what we're sharing, for others, and people to be able to, just feel confident that, yeah, this is real. This is happening for me now. This is not just some pie in the sky idea. This is real, and it's getting more and more real. I keep saying it's palpable now.
yeah, it
It's
really
really
is.
palpable.
Yeah, and
We really are in it. We're in it. And it's not, just a cliched line. We've come here for this. We've come here to do what's never been done before. We've come here to keep the heart, to honor the innate spiritual technologies, to work in again with the devices all over the planet, the spiritual techno devices that are all over the planet through the pyramid systems, the arcing systems, all the spiritual technologies of the planet are really coming online. And I feel in the lead up to solstice, there's a lot of ancient technologies on our planet that will not just be discovered, but will really start to ignite and exalt. And that is going to be absolutely glorious with what's coming. And the whole thing with this is that we're doing it in a way that's never been done before, not in Atlantean times, not in Lemurian times, not in Hyperborean times. We are now accessing the originator blueprints of the founder races who first come here to inaugurate the elemental and molecular structures of Earth through blueprinting harmonic systems. And that's all held within our bodies. And so what's happening to the Earth is happening to us. And what's happening to us is happening to the cosmos. I would really like to say that we have chosen wisely by coming here to the Earth star, our beloved Gaia Galactica, and really fully anchoring, alchemizing, and embodying the fullness of these technologies, these innate technologies and divine devices that are inside us. And this is having a profound effect on everyone and everything, at least galactically and cosmically now. It's huge.
That's
And
a
more are coming. Yeah, I say it's the arrival. Many are here, but they haven't arrived. They have not stepped in to
Yeah.
that full embodiment. In Lemurian times, we were very etheric. In Atlantean times, we worked very in the head and technologically. And, well, towards the end times at least, not in the golden times, we had a good blend. But we we did that in order to know now what it is to work with materializing spirit and spiritualizing matter.
Yeah. Everything was a prep for the responsibility and accountability. You know,
Oh, that's
it's
been my
right.
motto in the last week, really. Our ability to respond and not to be reactive, not to have the emotional hooks being pulled in to the drama vortices, looking at, where the trauma timestamps of us keep us in these looping patterns, bearing witness to others, but holding the heart open and in compassion rather than judgment and reactivity that others are still dragging along, or fighting all the way with it all. This
Yeah.
is huge.
Well, I mean, there's a lot to pick and choose in there, but I mean, it's because that's a really good summary, and I do uh, resonate with how you started it. With the founder race, because I have that memory. I can't say hey, I know I was in that group or whatever, but I remember this. Like a lot of us, got uploads, downloads on or around 2012 and in the years after. But I remember distinctly, first of all, I remember um, my partner, okay, uh, she was in a mountain in Australia at a command center, you know what I mean? And I remember that I met around the same time I met this girl, this lady, this sister in Texas. And it was her and I in this little pod flying around and literally seeding, seeding the planet. That's, and again, everything's a metaphor, but, a lot of that stuff is starting
It
to come
is
back
metaphor.
around. Yeah.
It is metaphor, but
Yeah.
the big thing is we're reframing the mythos. Nothing's set in stone here with the mythos. And there's a lot of mythos that's been fed to us that has been control mechanisms to keep
Exactly.
us, locked in. So we are reframing the mythos. And I'm so glad you mentioned that, because this is a part of what the dragons are holding and what we're weaving together with the dragons. And it's incredible, really. I mean, I'll just go back to that materializing spirit and spiritualizing matter before we head into that piece. But the motto for us here is that we do not seek liberation from matter. Seek the liberation of matter. Matter doesn't seek to escape or transcend. It only seeks to express its highest purpose. And this is what the earth imbibes.
Yeah. Somebody just said, my eyes aren't good enough to see your name, but thank you. 888. Um, another high caliber woman enjoy listening to these conversations. I'm half grinning inside because I just had a 2.5 hour show a couple of hours ago with one
Ooh.
of a towel, and we were we've only been on for 15 minutes, but we were talking about the exact same thing in a different in different
I know,
words and
right?
yeah,
This
it
is the
just
whole wonderful thing. We're not moving at the speed of light or the speed of sound anymore. We're moving at the speed of thought as a minimum, but we're moving at the speed of feeling and heart coherence. So everything, and we're in the organic. AI is only the mimicry and is always even a few nanoseconds behind. It can't work and operate with our beautiful angelic human technologies where we are just directly hitting the field with each other and working with our higher brain centers it's not going to be able to keep up soon.
Yeah, I agree. In the first, she did the same thing you did. She just gave like this summary real quick, and in that, and so like in the first, well, throughout the show, really, uh, all these things that happened to me, uh, during the month, I went through this 2 week period of all this stuff happening, and everything, or the key points, the salient points of what I experienced it was like an intuition or a telepathy. She was tapping in and so everything was relevant and to borrow her word, coherent. Everything, there was a certain cohesiveness to it. And I feel like that's kind of what you're referring to. It's
Yeah.
this higher than telepathy.
I
It's,
yeah,
you
I was
know,
just going to say it's more connected and even faster because it doesn't have to translate. It doesn't have to communicate. It doesn't have to create a transponder effect. It's instant recognition. And my little take on this, or my inkling on this, is that more monad, more monadic embodiment is coming online for people, and that is influencing everyone within that person's monad. So when one comes online and fully embodies their monad, their truest and highest source code self, that it instantly links up through this incredible, and again, it's the brain centers of our planet and us, the planetary brain and our personal brain interfacing without delay, no delay, and it's happening.
yeah, I'm laughing again because you know, the semantics sometimes, there's a difference, right? The terms we use. And I said this on the last show, and I said what you just said. And so Wanda looks at it like oversoul, monadic soul, right? I've heard people use different terms. It doesn't matter, but I totally get what you're
Yeah.
saying, and this is what I'm talking about. It's like I was telling her, when I kicked this back up in mid-May, um, I send out 20, 25 messages to people and I frame up some dates and say, this and that. And so it's like a crapshoot. Now, prior to this, like say in previous years, I would get 4 or 5 people would say, well, I want that spot, and so I'd get these double books. I've had one the whole year, one time. Like I just did 2025 3 or 4 days ago. Not one overbook, not one double book.
You're a
So
well-oiled machine.
but you know what I'm saying, though? This is speaking
Yeah,
to what you're talking about, or
exactly.
even coming together. It's like, okay, during that period, I don't like to cancel shows, so I canceled the last 2 shows when that this whole thing started for me. And I said, I just can't go. Both of them said essentially that, they couldn't do it. Right. I mean, one, I had anyway, it doesn't matter. But my point is, uh, then as I started to come out of it, and I go, okay, well now I'm ready. And you're one of the first people I thought of, but I think you hit me up before I even sent you anything. And maybe I'm getting you confused with another sister
No, you
because
did.
so
You
yeah,
did.
right. So and you weren't the only one. So it's like we're communicating,
Mm.
and then we come together, and all the pieces show themselves.
Yeah, there's
Right.
no time lag now.
Mm.
And this is the whole thing with time and not, there's so many time anomalies. I can never say that word. I
I have
get
I have certain
tongue-tied.
I have certain words like that too.
Yeah,
It drives me crazy.
yeah, I have words like that, and I'm not even going to attempt to tell you them because I will jumble them up with being dyslexic with certain words. But yeah, it's a brain wiring thing. But
Mm.
there's so much going on with time that we can't hold on to time as we have known it before, and a lot's happening with that around our blood and what has happened to our blood and what is coming back online with our blood. And that is the spin path of our mother, and when I say mother, I mean that in a universal sense. And then we can talk about it of galactic mother, and we can talk about it of the star mothers. We can talk about it as our earth mother. But that spin path of the mother principle and the mother codon is working in with an octave that is moving up in our evolutionary cycle within a conditioned sense of linear time, galactic time, cosmic time, universal time. We are moving up an octave, and everything is connecting in and interfacing seamlessly with no delay. No delay now. And that is because of our sacred blood. Our blood is spiralic. It's not linear. It doesn't flow in a line through our veins, and neither does it through the earth's veins, the telluric currents, the dragon veins. None of this spins linearly. It spins in a spiral. And this is our sacred blood song. And our sacred blood song is singing in volumes right now. We are a choir with our sacred blood song, respinning the harmonic blueprints back to the originator founder, what I call the founder race codex. And we are spinning our spin paths. Like if you look at quantum physics, the spin paths are moving through and dismantling a lot of malware where our spin paths have either been blocked or netted, a ceiling placed over them. And these spin paths are pushing through now. What's happening with the X flares, what's happening with the auroras. This is our magnetosphere. So the magnetosphere, or the upper magnetosphere, is actually our planetary brain centers. And the lower magnetosphere is where we've been caught in the netting mechanisms. And so what's happening with auroras and the X flares, especially with geomagnetic storing, is that those upper brain centers in the upper magnetosphere are reaching us now and reaching our brain centers and pushing through all the netting that has occurred. And it's incredible. And the spin path of our blood song is singing the information from us out to the cosmos, because we are doing it in an embodied consciousness now. And so that is influencing everything. We are influencing through that blood song, spinning now and creating new spin paths or originator spin paths. It's influencing everything.
Yes. Yeah. I totally get that. I think I told you that. There was a point, I think it was early last year, and at that point, my soul said, you guys have been downloading all this information in schools out, and now, but you got to understand that you're uploading as much as you're downloading. You're just becoming conscious of it now, and this is what you're going to step into. So it's very much what you're describing. Just as the celestial bodies have certain influences, um, and when they're prominent, we feel that influence. But again, to your point, it's all happening in here. So this is
Yes.
really a big mirror that we're looking at, and it's basically saying, hey, here's your map. Here's your map, and it's like we've changed navigational systems, or we've reverted back to the original one. Maybe that's a better way to put it. It's a universal. Uh, I want to say correction, but it's really a universal alignment. Correction sounds like there's something wrong.
But it is, because it is a course correction as well. Because when we look at this geographically, when we look at this galactically, cosmically, we can see that things have been malaligned malevolently and benevolently to actually protect these gates as well. And the aperture's shut down and slightly off kilter, that the interterrestrial doorways are not connecting to the surf but still connecting galactically, so that certain things can't come in and that certain things can remain protected until those of us who are holding the meta keys can awaken and receive and hear the invitations and the directives of how to work with these gateways again in a very safe, secure manner. So, this is what's happening now on the planet. Many are receiving their invitations from the dragons who are holding the telluric currency that connects in galactically and cosmically through our inner terrestrial gateways and stargates. More is happening within our planet, in my humble opinion, because this is where all, the course corrections according to time, place, and circumstance have occurred. And as our beloved Earth Mother is the crowning jewel of the cosmos, she is now returning to her stellar brethren as the starry belle of the ball. And we too are invited, one and all.
It's like a coronation.
It is. We're donning our starry crowns now. And, I had these dreams and omens about yellow hats. I'm going, what's this yellow hat thing? And I realized this is what it is. So we're moving from dualistic, duality, reality, polarity pool. We can say for what's going on in the geo-exo-political arena, white hat, black hat, alchemizing and integrating now into yellow hats or golden crowns.
Yeah, golden crowns. Yeah, I like that. So I don't want to get off too subject too much, but I got to ask you, what is this behind you?
Oh, these are the oceanic stargates and arcing systems. There's 12 around our planet. Some are on surface Earth, some are in what's called the A grid, which is the original grids of our planet, or what we call the grids that have sunk. And then we have the B grid, which is surface Earth, or the secondary grid. So this is the primary grid of our planet. And this is what I teach in Bimini with the dolphins. And we work with it and them and applying all the protocols and processes and directives that correspond to each of these 12 as one. And in the center, which way do I go? You'll see there's a spinning diamond. So that's the diamond core in the center of our planet. It's also the spiritual dimensions of our planet. That's why I'm saying everything exists within inside our planet. And this is, we could call it Shambhala in some traditions. That's what they call it, Shangri-La. So but these are all coming online now, and these are part of the mother arcing systems. We have space arcs, and we have mother arcs, which connect in with our rainbow diamond bodies, which is part of our innate technologies that are part of our system, our bodies, what they hold, these vehicles, these vessels of radiance force. So these are in the ocean and on the land, and they're all over the planet. And this is my own thing that's been gifted to me that I've been sharing for 20 years now.
Wow. I've heard several times that there are 12 stargates on the earth. And I've never I've never been introduced to this, and it makes sense to me. It makes a lot of sense to me that the B grid would be on the surface, and that the primary grid or the A grid would be centrally located in what that just makes a lot of sense to me. Now all the graphics, the symbols and stuff are very intriguing. Any of them as a standalone. But yeah, thank you for explaining that. That's incredible.
Yeah, it pertains to our meta histories, or her, hearsay as well, which later become heresy. But yeah, it is part of our originator gates and originator story, again, tying in with the founder race and what's called the Paladorian Codex. And yeah, we have a lot of fun teaching it. When we transferred to the B grid or the secondary grid, we the original people who were involved with this decided that if one of the gates became contaminated or tampered with, that they would have to all shut down to minimum aperture flow, which meant we had to shut down our inner stargates to minimum aperture flow. And that's when the cetaceans took over these gateways, the whales and the dolphins, and they've been holding the baton for us for quite a few eons now, since the fall of Atlantis. And they are handing over the batons now, and we are receiving our golden crowns and scepters and golden orbs as guardians or stewards. We're being invited back to stewardship as soon as we can hold our frequency bands, our innate frequency bands at a certain level. Then all this starts to click, 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 unlock. It also involves lock and key technologies that are on the planetary body and our personal body. So yeah, I teach this to people. It's more technical stuff, but it's very simple, and it's more of a feeling thing once you get to know about it and reacquaint yourself with it, or
Well,
ourselves
I
with it.
can I can feel it. And yeah, I'm
Mm.
sitting here thinking, well, there's there's a let's just say there's a group on this planet, obviously, that's hidden esoteric knowledge, this type of information, right? And if this transfer, and I believe you, and because I've had a couple of experiences out here at the Bay, that this connects the dots for me. But you know, they must be about to mess their pants, because I mean they got to know what's coming. You know what I mean?
Oh, it's a done deal. That's what
Yeah,
I
I mean
say.
that's what I'm saying. They have to be, uh, you know, they have to be scared.
It's a game changer. We're in the game changer phase now. We are in the game changer phase because of what's switching on in us. And everyone within this universe is looking at us saying, bravo, bravo, bravo. How are you doing this in that body? And it's what we've signed up for. Nobody has done this. We are flying by the seat of our pants. It has not been done in Atlantean times. It has not been done in Lemurian, Hyperborean. And it's, as I say, it's influencing everything and everyone. And we're entering into a state of pure quantum exchange now, potentized. And the good thing about this is that we are working with entanglement in all its glory. And as we start to stabilize our frequency bands, and what I've mentioned before in podcasts is to clear the catastrophophobia of, whoops, when I hit this level of frequency before, A big tidal wave came and whoosh, a big inundation, or the earth opened up and I was swallowed by an earthquake, or volcanoes erupted and I couldn't run fast enough from the lava. All that stuff is coming up in us now. And the cellular clear out, the cellular memory clear out is phenomenal at this point. And the crystallization of our cellular memory, the crystic codes are coming back online in each and every one of us now. Whether we're aware of it or not, or we can articulate it or not, we know and we are feeling something is different now. And the one thing I want to say about this is that Hertz removes Hertz. Hertz frequency removes the Hertz. So that is our ability to be responsive to the Earth Mother's calling. And our reactions are our contributions. So bearing witness, remaining in karuna, compassion in the heart, and being the observer as everyone finds their way out of the entanglements and the trauma looping timestamps. But know that this is happening now. And just by knowing that is enough to hold that responsibility of awareness is key. And awareness holds the keys. So even if you catch yourself at the end of going into an old play, an old drama, or midway, just know it's enough. It's enough to hold the awareness. This is the key that starts unlocking, and things start to click into place very, very quickly, the quickening stage.
Yes, that's yes. And yeah, to everything. What can I say to that? Other than to just draw the connection to, absolutely. We talked about this when we first got together. Like this year, we stepped into a whole different world, but it's becoming more and more and more obvious. You explained everything so well, and I feel like that first part, when you're talking about this whole thing happening at a cellular level, like this is an intelligence that we haven't had on for a while. And so not only is it happening with us, but there's this grid, that we're all connected to, and that's you just don't read about in the paper, so to speak. But that's without going into the story, but that was one of the three or four things that popped out with this experience I had for about 14 days during this month. Um, and what that was because it was a emotional thing. It was, first of all, it was things popped up from way back, like life review montage, and uh, and so that there was an emotional aspect. There was a kind of a rationale aspect of like, what is this? Let me figure it out, which was fruitless. Then there was a bit of a mental thing, I guess that would have been, and then there was the physical, is how it ended, which was excruciating because it involved my root and my sacral. But what I was getting to was that it was one of the few times and the strongest time that I knew not to, and I couldn't get around it on a personal level. I wasn't trying to bypass it, but it was a reality that I was tapped into a collective transformation, and there were many people experiencing what I was experiencing in their own way, and it was involving, yeah, it was involving the body, the blood, the nervous system, and the brain. It felt like as I came out of it that there were parts of my brain that were connecting that haven't been connected. People talk about new neural pathways. I'm talking more about regions of the brain, right? Where they're now it was like all lit up, like a
Yeah,
circuitry.
exactly.
Blue. It was blue. What do you call that? Like a blue neon type of light. You know what I mean? kind of like this back here.
It's what I
And it
call
can,
bioluminescence.
yeah, that's a good word right there. Illuminescence, yes. And so, and this is just this month. And now, with what you said, with the solstice, that really got the hairs on my back and my arm, right? Because I keep going back to what your country-mate said the first time he came on the show earlier this year, Gareth Jenkins.
Mm.
He's connected to the Arcturians. His information's
Yeah.
very good. And he said, by the end of the year, you will not recognize yourself. Now, we've heard a lot of things over the years, and and a lot of those things that we heard over the years, like go within, or many other adages, they've got a whole new meaning now. Like that,
Yeah.
we're actually not just living it; we are it.
We're embodying it.
Yeah, we're like the living proof. So, yeah, it's going to be. It's only 6 weeks away.
I know. And that's what I'm calling it, conscious embodiment. And yeah, I love that you're speaking about Gareth Jenkins. And yeah, you said you need to connect with this guy who's in Melbourne too, and blah blah blah. And then I got invited to speak on the Mark Atwood show, and then I was just doing a little research on Mark, and there's Gareth Jenkins connecting in with Mark, and I'm thinking, and I've mentioned to you, Todd, that I really feel it's an important connection for you and Mark to yeah, to weave at some point.
I didn't see that, but I don't think I did. I don't remember, but yeah, I would love to. I saw that post that you put up, and I like to research stuff, and I went to his YouTube, and I looked around a bit, and I thought, yeah, yeah, yeah. I actually got kind of a download out of it, to be honest with you.
Yeah, he's in
And it,
Ireland. He's
yeah,
very special, very special.
yeah.
He's got an amazing center, but he's an experiencer. He's a starseed experiencer. He can call them in, and they come. And he's also, podcaster. Started out as truther. He's got a movie and a book, but you can go into him. But I'm saying this because I feel there would be some good things that you two could bounce off and feel there's a good weaving there with connection.
I think
And
I'll,
it
I'll
would
re-
be great. It would be
yeah,
great for people to observe that connection
man,
of you
that's
two
that's cool.
weaving in the field.
I will, I'll reach out to him. Um,
Mm,
that's another thing I've noticed too. And again, I'm not saying these things to promote Soulogy. God knows I've never done a good job of that, not by traditional terms. But it's an example of, as the individual goes, so goes the collective. It's this
he's the
reacquaint,
same.
right? You know what I mean? It's this reacquaintance, which is new to us, but it's the old. You've spoken to this right now, and so one of the things I've noticed is the mechanics of it, not getting double books. I mean, the way it just flows, and like, people, it's like, did you read my mind, kind of thing. Um, and another one is the context or substance, okay, of the energy. It's different. And I was telling my partner this last night. I was telling her, man, I hadn't done a show with so and so in a long time, and man, she's always been solid, but man, she's different. She's different. And then I'm like walking through the town, and I tell her, God, I've never seen the town with this energy before, and I've talked about this on the show since I've been here, right? And she says to me, well, maybe it's you.
I was just about to say the same.
But that's the point. It's not, well, yes, absolutely. Just like it's you. That's what I mean. It's like a bunch of people getting turned on at the same time, or relatively the same time. I mean, this is, what I heard at the beginning of this month in my own transmission was portals, 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 portals. And I thought, well, what's going to happen here? Am I going to walk through a portal and walk out in Ayers Rock? you know, in a stroke,
Yeah.
or whatever the case is. But
You may say that in jest, but
I'm
it's
I'm
going
I'm
on.
not I'm not
It's
kidding.
going
No,
on.
no, I'm absolutely convinced. If I look at the way things have evolved in the last year, let's just say on a personal level, and without getting personal, um, it, yeah, because one thing that's happened for all of us, I think, and I've said this for years, is ever since this happened to me in 2011, my soul will say to me, if it doesn't make sense, do it. You know, if it makes sense,
Exactly.
you probably shouldn't do it. Okay. If you're
Exactly.
you know what I mean? And so I see that. I will live 800 plus years. And not that I need to prove, and not that I'm scared to death, but because I realize the opportunity that we have, which you described earlier too. Why are we the darlings of the universe? Why is the universe on the edge of its seat waiting to see what we're going to do? Because in your words, they can't believe we're doing it in this body. And that's a powerful statement. And so to be in, we've all had dimensional experiences, many of us apparitions, and so on. But imagine that frequency being sustained, not glitching out, and just what's happening now, really subtly, steadily expanding.
Well, it's what I call the calling
And it
home.
is that
Yeah.
it is that entanglement.
Yes. And the calling home of the one heart race, one heart, one world, no separation of the land masses. And this is the law of one, the Lemurian way. It was one great landmass, which now we could see as several continents, and one great mother ocean that was fed from our inner ocean, the amniotic fluids of the mother within that regulates the cerebral spinal fluid of the tectonic plates and our cerebral spinal fluid. And that creates the plasma portals and the plasma pools. And the wonderful thing that you're talking about is that your spot that you go to meditate, yes, either you are reconnecting in with your personal portal that you hold the meta key for as an invitation to be there and to go there and to heed that calling and to know that this works in with the golden eggs and the golden keys. And these are not just for the dragons, these are for us because our DNA is interwoven with the dragons in this regard. And this is how we interface because we're holding symbiotic DNA and RNA, the song lines and the blood song, with the dragons to anchor and alchemize, not just for ourselves. It only takes that one step to hold it for all beings residing within and on the surface of our earth. And these places are star markers that we are infusing and creating exchange with through our embodiment, conscious embodiment. And what this is doing is this is allowing the dragons through the Earth star and the 2D telluric realms, the dragon veins, to create a herogamic bridge between heaven and earth for birthing galactic consciousness and galactic principles on the earth now. And it is through their sperm, their seeding, their seed, that we are able to activate all these devices, personally and planetary, now. And God bless all our Indigenous clans that are still holding the technologies open and have never shut them down on this planet, and know the intraterrestrial direct connect doorways. For example, from Katachuda, which is the twin to Uluru, direct connecting as a doorway to Machu Picchu, and also direct connect doorways from Giza plateau through to Hawaii. You know, these are still being kept open, and there's some that can direct connect and directly move between these doorways, and others that are bilocating and trilocating to do the technical grid work. And it feels as if you are there. Simultaneously, you may feel cold, but you may feel the warmth and the sun on your face from somewhere that's tropical, that is a direct connect doorway. And this is how we are doing the work as well. And it is those that took the knowledge, the wisdom keepers that took the technologies to the four corners of our earth, our planet, for safekeeping until the time was right. And they are coming back together now, the red, the white, the yellow, and the black. And within those four colour races, they are working with the blue race, the blue skins as well. And all this is alchemizing in us. And we are interfacing together through what we're talking about, this instant connection, and finding each other actually physically on this planet now, which is simply glorious. And it is 3 groups of the 4 colour races, bringing the 12, that is unlocking the keys, the meta keys and the meta codes to do with the originator gates. Because it needs all of us. It was set up that not one person or one group held the master key for it all as a protective mechanism. And this is why it is a game changer. And this is why it's not just the yellow or the red or the black. The white are stepping up now. And these clans are starting to listen and respect the old ways of the white races as well, and the original ways. And this is why I say this is not a test run or a rerun. We are well and truly on the home run now.
Wow, you're on fire today.
It's been a
Yeah,
lot
this is
happening in the last few weeks.
yeah, this is good stuff. Now, and your reference to the blueskins, is that the inner Earth family, galactic, or both?
Both.
Okay, that's what I thought. Yeah.
How do I know that? Because how I received this is before that, I was going to Uluru, and just a short story, had a whole restructuring, particularly of my spine. Hang on. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay, I'm just clearing the field here with what I'm going to speak. So there's an aspect of myself that lives in underneath the oceans that works and has helped me bring through this and to embody it and consciously, and to be able to impart it. And her name is Kitiyanka, she who is of the oceanic stars. And she is blue skin, elongated head, eyes that actually go right out to the temples. And this is a blue race, but she is of the oceanic stars. So yes, we know we have our blue skin star clans, but we also have them within under the oceans as well, blue skin star clans.
Yeah, it's been
Oceanic stars
no,
clans.
this is just as, I mean, it's connecting dots for me, just like the incredible image behind you. But yeah, years back, 14, 15, 2014, 2015, I had some experiences, and I called them at the time because I wasn't doing the show, so I didn't have the nomenclature and some of the terms, but I called them the people of the deep blue. And I would go into the ocean and basically enter, go deep enough to and enter. It's almost like you're on land.
It's
You
under the
know?
seabed. It's under
Yeah,
the
yeah.
seabed.
It was okay. So it was like you would think if you're in the ocean and you see kind of an opening, almost look like a pond, that you're going to stay wet. As you go in, and I'm not saying that
That's
I
the
was wet,
plasma.
but okay,
That's
and
the
it was
plasma.
like, but yeah, so you could, yes, yes,
It's
it's exact,
liquid air. It's liquid
yeah,
air and liquid light.
yeah, and the people were blue, and yet also I know not just myself, but a lot of people I've talked to over the years talk about the blue. The blue is such a prominent thing.
Mm.
Blue orbs coming in the room and just different things. But yeah, so I had a feeling that it was all of the above. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and first I thought it was something outside of myself, and someone outside of myself, and then over time of communing, I realized, no, this is actually a dimensional facet of self, and this is someone who is very proficient at working with these arcing systems, because a lot of the space arcs are in the oceans and also within mountains and within deserts, because a lot of the deserts hold the metacoding for the originator gates where the oceans once were and the seas once were that are now deserts. But when I go into the desert, I say this, I don't see desert, I see oceanic consciousness. And we can see at Uluru and in the Gobi Desert and Sedona, in these Arizona, in these desert regions. And in fact, I remember having an experience where I've had quite a few tsunami experiences, but I had this experience in Arizona as a Hopi Navajo, but they weren't called that, but that's what they would be now, that race. And we were a cave dwelling, Pepwa cave dwelling peoples, and there was a high, and we felt we were high enough, and then we saw this wave coming towards us, and there was nothing that we could do. And this is how I know that catastrophobia isn't just a cliched line, that I have direct connect in my cellular memory experience of this, because what I did on that cliff, when I knew there was nothing we could do to save the vessel, the body, was to sing to the people the songs, the blood song, and the song within the stars of our bones. And we sat and we held hands, and the wave came over us. And it said that in Lemuria, when that happened, I read about this later, that this was a real thing in Lemurian times, and that the song that they sang when that occurred, when Lemuria went down, was the melody was Auld Lang Syne, which is always sung at New Year, the new way, dreaming for the new cycle. So I found that really fascinating.
That is fascinating. And yeah, just this whole
We
thing is
hold that memory, and we sing it at every new year because this was the new start. Boom, we had to go through the new start. And interesting, when the tsunami hit in 2004, in that big wave hit, particularly Thailand, I was that's when all this thing opened up for me. I was in the bed for 4 weeks with double pneumonia and pleurisy, just downloading. My hands and feet were on fire. All this stuff was coming to me. And I was shown babies and children. It wasn't a great scene. It was not nice at all. But they were floating on the surface of the water in the glow of the moon. And I could do nothing for their bodies, but I took their subtle body that was in total shock and trauma up to this etheric hospital. And I was taking these babies up to this etherical to reset and recalibrate their systems, their their nervous systems, their bodies to readjust because they were ripped out of their bodies so suddenly. And this is a real thing when this happens with catastrophophobia. And many souls have experienced it in this lifetime. And I had one girl come on our Dolphin Dreaming Temple workshop in Bimini when I used to do them for over 10 years with the dolphins in Bimini. One girl, she actually had that experience where she got thrown back onto the shore by the tsunami, but her partner unfortunately was taken out back out to the ocean. And so we got to work with clearing this directly in this lifetime, and that memory code, which was super potent.
Wow. So many questions. I mean, so many things are like dots are connecting, you know. I mean, when I say questions are forming, I don't have to ask them because the answer's coming.
Yeah, yeah.
But
Well,
like this is story. This is how they kept it alive, right? The indigenous.
this is
That's
why I'm
the
saying
story.
we are reframing mythos now, because there's a lot of malarkey being fed within the mythos. And what is the mythical realms? It's the upper 4D. And we are fully anchoring into that now and removing the netting and the hijacking and the looping mechanisms and the hijacking from the lower astral 4D. And so it is imperative that we, mythos isn't set in stone, it's fluid. Everything's fluid with this according to the consciousness. So we are reframing the mythos now. And this is another thing that is a game changer, galactically and cosmically. We are getting to rewrite the stories through our blood song and our spin paths. That is having a game changer effect. Everyone and everything is being changed up now through octavating, going up the spiral of evolution, not revolving with the same old stories. Being able to octavate now with our frequencies and hold the frequencies that create the spin paths in the creatrix pattern of what we are able to, just upload and download simultaneously. It's what I called eonation. It was shown to me about 30 years ago. And what it is it's a spin path that runs clock and anti-clock simultaneously. And if you just visualize these two spirals interlocking, and you'll see the spinning going up and down through your body clockwise, then you do it anti-clockwise, and then what happens, you hit this alchemical charge where you don't know what's up or down anymore. And this is what helps to get us out of the whole notion of time. It's what I call the 13 sequences of time within no time. And this exercise of what I call eonation, it was shown to me as eonation, where it just goes up and down, and it's doing, it's hard for our left and right brains also to unlock that whole patterning of having the separation, having the separated consciousness, the spirals being separate from each other. When they interlock, this is when we work through being the masters of time. And as my old friend Tidor from the Andromeda Galaxy says, say it like a mantra: there's no time like no time. And timing is simply man's inability to be. It's a reminder of man, simply a reminder of man's inability to be. And what is time? Time is just showing us markers of consciousness, points of data points, metadata points, as referencing consciousness.
Good stuff. Yes. God. So, I mean, every show we've done together has been powerful for me. I mean, it's been incredible. I really enjoy coming together with you. But this one has been, you know, so far it's just been off the hook. And I made that reference earlier, and you said, well, there's been a lot going on. I know a lot went on for me, and of course, it's only the 21st. But that was totally, it was a 14-day period. It was totally unexpected. It was as core programming as you can get. I experienced a great deal, but I also learned a tremendous amount. And if I just look at the energetic and the band of frequency level, uh, yeah, both the spins were happening. Yeah, you know what I mean? Both the spins were happening. So the human was fully engaged in going through a different way, pain, suffering, whatever, the human stuff. But I'm seeing it. I'm seeing it outside of me. I had to take a break for 5 or 6 days. I just couldn't do anything. I had to
Mm,
cancel the two
mm.
shows, and I didn't even. I normally schedule on the weekends, and I couldn't do that. I went about 7 or 8 days, um, but yet when I turned it back on or started to interact with more people than just my partner, or a couple of people, um, I'm seeing it. I saw it in my friend today. I see it, you know, more enhanced in you. I see, it's not even coming down to people. It's it's that, and I felt this sometime earlier in the month too. And I think it was before I took this little break. I said to somebody, I said, I feel weird. I'm walking through the town. I feel like I'm walking in plasma. Like I can feel a consistency in the air. It's not just a thin, you know what I mean? Yeah. And I hadn't even thought about the people, the deep blue in a long time, but that's kind of how those dreams go. And that's kind of how the lucid dreams go for me. Uh, I
I
feel
love
like
that.
you know what I mean? I feel like it's a plasma environment. I feel like it's more viscous. You can mold it. You're not in a rush. There's no time element. It's like, oh wow, it's like Dragon Ball Z, but it's heavier. It's got more volume or something. It's not a light thing. It's like cosmic Play-Doh.
Yeah, it's the fluidity, the as I say, the amniotic fluids of the mother
Hmm.
interfacing with our the waters or the plasma of our bodies, and that that's what water is. It's more solid form of the plasma, and that's why I say, we we interface with sky waters, sky plasma. We interface with sweet water. We interface with salt water. And we are clever water, alchemizing it all. We are the way of water.
Hmm. And I mean, God, the way this is happening too, it's like all forms of speculation go out the window. You know what I mean? Like there is something going on, and it's uh it's reflective of our gaining more presence with ourselves. In other words, you don't have time to look around in the peripheral or look in the past or look in the future. It's right here. Everything's
In
right here.
our
And
face.
yeah, and I like what you were talking about with the spiral thing or the past. There's this thing my brother sent me a while back, and it was uh, talking about retrocausality, which is this physics genre, or science is getting into, that you can actually change the past and the present. So there's a lot of things that are converging. Uh, you know what I mean? And so when I listened to you earlier, and you were giving this incredible, eloquent rundown of everything, and I'm going, I wonder if or when, let's just say, a tipping point or a vast majority of people will actually know everything that she's talking about.
Yeah.
Like this is the level of acceleration and the comprehensive level, the volume of data, of code, combined with the speed. I mean, this is like beyond viral. It's beyond quantum. It's like you said. It's like the monads are connecting, and so and I'm sure that we've had levels of this, but the math, the language, the energy, everything's different this year, and it just seems to be getting bigger and bigger. And somebody I talked to, I think it was yesterday on the show, said to me, uh, it might have been Wanda actually today, but she said, yeah, it was. And she said, well, what she was getting was that, 2027 is going to be bigger than 2026.
Mhm.
And, and I got a real feeling that, in talking with her, just based on how the dots connect, that this year is preparation for next year. And that
Absolutely.
next year, now this was her saying this, but this part of it, she said that, in other words, a lot of people, like a vast majority of the people, are going to have that wake up. Like it's going to hit that level. And so this is when we show up. This is what a lot of sisters I've talked to over the years, like you, said, I've been told since day one that there's going to be a day when we're going to be put to work. In other words, to support the masses, to support those that don't understand all this stuff. Because you got to remember, they're going to be getting all this information at once. A lot of this, the veils come down as we know how this works. You can't expand or gain expanded awareness unless you're in tandem with the two spins got to be happening. In other words, the dark nights that we all went through, the traumas that we went through. Like Luke, your example of that 4 week period is a perfect example. Here you are incapacitated, yet you're turned on, right? We know how this works. So, but yeah, I just led into that with saying, speculation even goes out the window because it just does. It's nice to think about something and say that and say, let me share this with you. But you go on to the next moment and it's right here, right now. This is it. This is the central command right here. Uh, it all happens right here, and here we are. And with your explanation, it's so easy to see too, how it's almost like you have concentric circles, and Earth is in the middle, and we're in the middle of the middle. We're that blue diamond behind your head. It's fascinating.
Spherical consciousness.
Hmm.
Spherical consciousness, and that's why I call it oceanic consciousness.
Hmm. Yeah.
And there's so many things I could speak to with what you were sharing there. It was so beautiful and eloquent. Thank you. And I would like to say, just as a comfort and reassurance, that we only ever get what we're ready for, no more, no less. And that is something for all of us to remind ourselves of when we're going through the motions, physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually. We only get what we are ready for, no more, no less. And amazing things are going to happen. My guidance is saying that 26, 27 is the crossover phase where everything starts to align. The technologies that will be not discovered, to be given to humanity, that were always here and have always been known about, will be given back to humanity. And it's always been that these things cannot happen without the angelic human architecture and divine blueprints that have been piggybacked off and hijacked. And now we are stepping into the central of access point of the diamond. Now it's being returned to us, what was stolen. And it's part of the story. We're rewriting all that. As I said, we're reframing the mythos, and we're learning to know what to hand back with love from our lineages and our stellar lineages, as well as earthly and blood family lineages. We're handing back with love, and we're rewriting, reframing the stories and the mythos, which is powerful. We no longer have to wait for other family members to catch up or to prove and defend why we're holding true to what we know, our gnosis, our inner knowing that we know without having to prove and defend. And we're taking our foot off the brake instead of driving down the freeway 100 miles an hour with the foot on the brake, waiting for everyone nearest and dearest to us to catch up. We're letting go now and know that, who's meant to come along for the ride will come along for the ride in whatever capacity, in whatever consciousness.
Another one, you hit the nail right on the head. I mean, it's, you know, like this month has been incredible. And what's the bottom line been? The experience was framed around uh, masculinity, but it was precipitated by a download of my perception of the feminine.
Yeah.
So, and I didn't even make the connection until earlier today how that flipped. But the end result was shown to me in that regard and in the image of the brain I was talking about. Okay. So when you said bring the two spirals together, that was like, oh, that's the perfect, I should have said that because it was kind of like that, like two tornadoes,
Yes.
and the blue, thing. I don't know. This was, it was the kind, and it was, I think I told you this, but it was, I understood it was a collective thing, like to my bones, like something big has just happened. Whoa. And, and in a way, all the human stuff went out the window. I mean, it just, I'm supposed to be back in the States. My soul said, stay here. I've got my ticket, I mean, and I'm sitting here and I'm just being told, no, you just stay right there. Stay. Don't,
Mm.
don't even think about it. So I had to go
Right.
upgrade my ticket so I could, you know, keep it, keep it going for whenever I want to try to use it. And, yeah, it's just, it's a great clearing. And I know, because I mean, I've been rewoke since the 2011, uh, and I know the power of the solstice. I mean, I remember it last year. It was whoa, like somebody opened the gate. So, and then Gareth's words, and then your words, and then remembering Franco's words about this time, specifically this time, which was it was the equinox from September 25 to basically the equinox in March 27. And he basically said the same thing you did, that your guidance is saying that this is when the transfer becomes evident. And so that by itself would be enough to freak a bunch of people out on this earth. You know, you're talking about an entire paradigm shift at the point, at that nexus point, you know, like how do you not see that? We've all been places and, you see something. Sometimes the people with you see it too, and sometimes they don't see it at all, right? So this is a situation where, I love what you said, and I've repeated it several times about the three-eye atlas. And last time we opened the show up, and I said, "What about that?" And you said, "Well," I said, "because people are saying this, this, that, this," and you said they're all right. And like I know in my bones that for my version, I know what I know it is.
It's
But
the
it's not
psyche.
right.
It's what's
Yeah,
being
yeah.
integrated within the psyche about our dualistic and polarizing uh, ideas
Mm,
about who's who in the galactic zoo,
mm,
all
hmm.
being brought up in our face to be integrated now. The hopium stuff, someone's going to come to save me, rescue me,
Mm,
or, all about the geographicals. And then the other side, being in fear of
mm.
certain beings, and they're going to take you up in,
Yeah,
in a in the other end of the stick. And all that now is like, we're finding our neutral charge with this.
right.
And this is, as I say, it only takes that one step more to ground and alchemize for the whole of humanity and all beings living on and within the earth, that we can let go of some of the ideas and the fears we have around all this. And that's dropping now. Some of the most beautiful beings, I normally get pulled into the interterrestrial realms. I drop very suddenly and go in. Some of those beings look, in our idea of how people should look, to be beautiful or attractive, look really, really fugly, and scary fugly. Yet have got so much love, so much joy, so much wisdom to exchange through the heart. And we have to let go of all this face value stuff around all this stuff. And this is why we're reframing the methods, because we've been done, we've been done a job on with this whole ET thing, you know. And we need to sort that out first. And we are sorting that out now. And that is also going to be a game changer for everyone.
I think
It
that's
only takes it
yeah,
only takes that one step more to ground and alchemize for the whole, in holding that as a consciousness.
yeah, yeah. And you spoke to this earlier, in in a way, and I started because you were talking about essentially the level of evolution that we're at and stepping into, well, we're in it as we step further into it. And I was thinking of false flags, the frequency of false flags. So even if you look at that 3i as a psyops, or if you look at the last, go back to 9/11, or maybe a little bit before that, the level of psyops, they had to get bigger and bigger and try this and try that and try this. And at some point, we're basically leaving them behind. Our consciousness is not buying the BS.
Mm.
So, so this is, just my Todd's way of explaining what you're saying. But yeah, it is the psyche. It is all hands on deck, all streams of reality, all ideas, all thoughts, all parallels, everything on the table. You know, uh, and I think that's the point that you're speaking of. And so as you were referring to the star family watching us, uh, and yes, we're going to do this in the body, and it's going to happen while we're in the body in a physical existence. That's mind blowing. I mean, that's absolutely mind blowing. Um, but doing this show over the years, there are things, and I realize we all have expanded. We're constantly expanding. We wouldn't be in these conscious conversations, etc., groups, the things that we do, grid work. But there was more. There was a noticeable. I never doubted my own truth, but sometimes the conversations would take, and I'd be like, I don't know if I want that to be true, but I don't know if that's, and you start to question everything, which is okay. Now I'm going to live 800 years. I am going to teleport to Australia. I'm going to go here. I'm going to go there. I can do this. I can do that. Whatever. I mean, something's turned on. I was telling
Yeah.
Wanda earlier, I never had this happen to me in this manner, only in like meditation or session communion. I'm walking down the street last week and my eyes obviously are open. I'm walking down the street and this video came on my right side. And I'm watching this, I'm looking at it going, what the hell is that? And and I look and I thought it was an image. It looked like a modern futuristic business complex, which now that I say that I've seen this in my lucid dreams. But so I'm looking at it and then I start to see a little bit of movement. This lasted about a minute, minute and a half. And I don't see a lot of people, but I see a few people and they're all wearing like Star Trek type uniform, matching. I love this show because it brings everything back up. But some of them had different colors, but they were the same style, right? And it looked, and so anyway, it happened, and I went, and then it stopped, and I was like, what the hell was that? And so what I really got out of it when I tapped into it was all this stuff is coming online. You can't, like you said, you can't just throw it all out there. You can't just take a big universal dump truck and dump it on a human after the conditioning and programming that we've had. We'd fry our brains. That's
Oh,
why
can we?
well, that's true too. I've always
It's
been one that said,
happening.
yeah,
You
that's true.
know, it's happening. And, we're all of this and we're none of it. In
Mm,
Sanskrit, the nature
mm,
of the soul is Satchitananda, which means eternally full of knowledge and bliss. You have to remember that bit.
mm,
Eternally full of knowledge and bliss. And these are just tools of operation and identities and dimensional facets of self that can support us
mm.
going about our business on the earth and within the cosmos, within the universe, while still remaining connected as a soul to source and source code. And you'll love Mark Atwood because he gets a lot of the Star Trek thing. And what you were just saying there, he's had experiences lately about things like that happening for him as well, with the whole Star Trek uniforms and, like the whole flavor interfacing here coming in
Mm,
through omens. And yeah, I just want to confirm for you that, yeah, that part is real too.
mhm.
We're not just glitching through time, we're actually changing up the whole dimensional interfacing. And
Mm.
this is where I say, with the paradigm part, the biggest paradigm I feel it as my little predictor tip is what's going to shift up regarding periodic law and the periodic table, and ether being brought back into the full with this, and how this is part of what we're experiencing with the brain, which is the Ethernet.
Mm.
And this is what's happening now. Between now and solstice, there are many devices coming online. And yes, of course, my thing is to go into sabbatical now and be still and not go anywhere. But, cosmic joke on me. And if you want to make God laugh, telling me plans, just in the last day, I've been downloaded with a huge thing that I have been resisting, but many omens and dreams have come in to say, but wait, there's more. That's been my mantra.
So
I feel like I
you're
feel
gonna
like an infomercial, but here's the steak knives and here's the, it's like, but wait, there's more, it's like, no,
oh, so you're gonna be on the move before the end of the year.
possibly.
Yeah,
Yes, I am.
yeah. I
I
see.
have to, I've
Yeah,
been fighting it, but I've got to surrender. But this is for me. This is
right.
my part of my sabbatical. This is part of, there's work you do solo, there's work you do with
Yeah.
groups in triuning and the diamond, and then there's work you do, with gatherings and journeys with bigger
Mm.
groups. And this is about me, as you know, I've been to 12 countries around the planet and umpteen 30 to 40 sacred sites with the devices. And yeah, there's a lot of devices coming online now,
Mm.
and the
That-
tectonic plates and the volcanic systems coming online, and we're coming online. And I feel there is a meta key that I am being invited to work with.
wow.
And so just, yep, I've surrendered in the last day, wanting to be home, but I won't be. I'll be
But
on the move again.
you'll still be a sabbatical. You'll be,
This is for me.
yeah.
It's not going to be happening to me. It's going to be
Right.
for me
Right.
and with me.
Right. Right. Yeah.
And
Well,
I've been gratefully giving all year and sharing these more technical aspects and but for me, I'm going to work with myself, and yeah,
that feels something feels real right about that. And
yeah,
yeah, I mean
first and
everything's
foremost.
yeah.
Whatever happens along the way, and who I might interact or interchange with, but this ultimately is for me, not holding space for anyone else but me right now,
Mm, yeah.
because that is what's required. And then I could accept. Then I could accept and let go and surrender to what was being asked of me really strongly.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I actually was given that advice a couple of days ago by my partner. I asked, because I said, man, no, my rent's due on the 15th of every month. So, the decision kind of, so I made it the first month and I said, well, and now it didn't make any sense. It makes no sense at all. So I pulled the trigger on it, upgraded the ticket, and I said to her, what do you think? Well, I think you might need to stay there till the end of the year. And essentially saying the same exact thing you're saying, which is I need to be present with myself, which is really how things have been going for me since October the 15th when I made this move. Um, I speak to her. I can't even speak to my mother and father right now, you know, and I feel a little bit bad about that, but I know it's okay. I can't really speak to anybody. I make music with my brothers. We do that about once a week, and I do the shows unless I go through a period like I did. But yeah, this actually to me since the summer, it's been a very you're going to be with yourself kind of thing, kind of ride. But that feels right. Um, Her explanation is these last 3 months we're getting used to how this works, and then we come out of the chute come January. So, which is what
Wise
that's going to be.
words.
Yeah. Well, she's a wise
Wise
lady.
words.
Yeah.
Yes,
I
she
mean,
is.
but yeah. I mean, and of course, if you look at the level and frequency of what I call physical synchronicities that are happening are just becoming like a tsunami. They're just these little cookie crumb trails, but they're not just me. It's me with somebody else. It's that telepathy. It's the timing, the synchronicity. That's accelerating. So I can imagine we're going to step into, you said 26 and 27. So what, that's a, that's a 10, right? That's a one. So it's a new beginning. And then 27 is going to be, you can look at it as a two, but you can also look at it as an 11. It's a master. You imagine the next couple of years, the numbers, like the ones. like January 1st, 2026, January 11th, 2026, January 22nd. I mean, oh my God, it's going to be wild. Well, maybe if you're up to it, we can get together next month. You and Leanne seem to have this knack for, you know, we need to meet on this date. So you can, I only have like some stuff scheduled like in the first week of December. But yeah, if you're up for it, unless you're on your sabbatical, totally respect that. Whatever. I'm just happy to get together with you whenever. But I'm just leaving it open for you. So if it's something that fits, then yeah. But thank you from the bottom of my heart, the deepest part of my soul, on behalf of myself and everybody else. This work that you've done over the years is absolutely incredible, and it's a joy to sit down with you um, because of the mix of the spins. The human is here, the soul is here, and I really appreciate that.
Thank you so much, Todd. And thank you to everyone who has been here now and who will join us in the field at some point to um, anchor and alchemize what has been shared here today in this weaving. So much gratitude and so much um, delight to be invited to share in this way yet
Mm.
again. Thank you.
Thank you. I'll see you next time. You take
You
care
will.
and have a great sabbatical.
Thank
Bye
you.
bye.